There are many people in your life right now, draining you, controlling you, and feeding off you. You don't see them, you don't suspect them, but they are there. You see, they don't argue with you, and they don't fight with you. And that's because they don't need to. They smile, they support you, they pretend to have your best interests, while they quietly pull you down. And if you don't recognize them in time, they will take years from you. This could be the most important video you ever watch, because by the end, you'll know exactly who they are, how they operate, and how to cut them off before it's too late. Toxic people don't show up waving red flags. They don't come at you as enemies. They don't announce their intentions. Instead, they come disguised as friends, as mentors, and as helpers. And if you don't recognize them in time, they will slow you down, drain your energy, and keep you stuck for years. And I know this because I've seen it firsthand. There are 5 types of toxic people you need to watch out for. And I guarantee you know at least one of them. Now, I break this down in detail in my upcoming book called The Apex Mindset. But right now, I'm going to show you the 5 types you need to avoid. And if you want to go even deeper, make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to do a full deep dive in each of these in upcoming videos. Now, let's get into it. First one on the list, the tick. This one's dangerous because it doesn't attack, it feeds. The tick is the person who latches onto your energy, your ambition, and your grind. They don't build anything of their own. No, they just attach themselves to you. The moment you stop feeding them, they turn. Number 2, the snake. They smile in your face, but they're working against you behind your back. They don't attack you openly. They wait until you trust them, and then they strike. Number 3, the crab. These people don't want to see you rise because it reminds them of their own failures. The moment you start climbing, they grab onto you and try to pull you back down. Not physically, but through words, doubts, and guilt tripping. You have probably seen this with your own family, childhood friends, people who can't handle your growth. Next on the list, the rooster. All talk, no results. This is the loudmouth who brags about what they're doing, who they know, what moves they are making. But when it comes down to it, they never actually make anything happen. And lastly, the leech. You see, the leech is different from the tick. The leech plays the victim. They stay close, act like they support you, but in reality, they drain you. Time, money, energy, whatever they can take, they take. And no matter how much you give, it's never enough. Now, I've dealt with all 5 of these people at some point, but the first real lesson I learned, that came from the tick. And it all started when I was barely 18 years old. Now, I was young, ambitious, and looking for a way up. And that's when I got introduced to the nightclub and promotion business. It was a whole different world. Fast-paced, exciting, and I won't lie, at that age, there was something empowering about it. I looked the part, I moved the part, and before I knew it, I was in. That's when I met Mr. Smith. He was older, well-connected, and he knew how to talk. Now, Mr. Smith wasn't just some random guy. He had status in the scene, people respected him, and he had a way of making you feel like you were stepping into something bigger than yourself. He saw my work ethic, my hustle, and one day he approached me with an opportunity. And I remember he said to me, "I'll set you up with an opportunity where you'll do well," he said. Now, to an 18-year-old, that sounded like everything I wanted. a way in and a way up. At first, it was good. I was working in the nightclub, making money, getting better at what I did. I was moving up. At least, that's what I thought. But here's the thing about the tick. They don't just take from you outright. They make you think they are giving you something while they're actually taking more than you realize. I should have seen the signs. The more I worked, the more money he was making. But the better I got, the more he guided me right into staying under him. Anytime something bigger came up, there was always a reason why it wasn't the right move. See, ticks don't build, they don't create. They just attach themselves to something that's already moving. And as long as you keep moving, they keep feeding. I started getting other opportunities, bigger moves, but somehow I never took them. And I didn't realize at the time, but looking back, I can see how it happened. It wasn't about what he said, it was about how he positioned things. It was the way he'd introduce doubt, the way he'd make me feel like I was already in a good spot, so why take risk? And it wasn't aggressive, it was subtle, almost like advice. But the result, it kept me exactly where I was. Because as long as I stayed under him, he kept eating. That's what the tick does. They don't want you to leave because they can't survive without you. But the second you pull away, that's when you see their real colors. So this is where I started walking away. And one day, I finally realized what it was. I realized he wasn't actually helping me. He was using me. And the second I made the decision to step away, something changed in him. Now, it's not in what he said, but in the way he acted. I wasn't treated the same. The conversations got shorter, the support gone. And I realized I had spent months feeding his success while mine was being limited. Ticks don't need to break you. They just need to keep you running on that treadmill while they stay latched on. And the moment you stop, they panic because they can't survive without you. Once I stepped away, I moved on. I focused on boxing, on discipline, on building something real. And eventually, that path took me beyond just one industry. It took me to Dubai, Thailand, Japan, and other places where I met better people and made smarter moves. But looking back, that experience with Mr. Smith stuck with me. And once you see those toxic types for what they are, you never unsee them. And here's the thing, this doesn't just happen to young guys trying to make a name for themselves. It happens to the highest levels, the biggest stages. Even the strongest men in the world have fallen for it. And no one saw that more clearly than Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, one of the most dominant fighters of all time, a man who could crush his opponents in seconds. But for all his power in the ring, outside of it, he was being played by the man pulling the strings, Don King. See, Don King didn't come to Tyson as an enemy. He didn't approach him as just another promoter. No, he came as a father figure. Mike was making hundreds of millions, but King was taking a massive cut. The fights, the endorsements. Tyson eventually realized what was happening. He took Don King to court, sued him for $100 million. But by that point, the damage was already done. The money was gone, the time was gone, and that's the real cost of toxic people. It's not just what they take, it's what you lose in the process. And if it can happen to Mike Tyson, then don't think for a second that it can't happen to you. These people exist everywhere, and they don't attack you head on. They work in the shadows. They act like they're your biggest supporters, when really they're your biggest obstacles. The tick, the snake, the crab, the rooster, the leech, if you don't know how to spot them, you'll waste years feeding the wrong people. That's exactly why I break all this down in my book, The Apex Mindset, where I teach you exactly how to see them, stop them, and take control of your own life. Now in my next videos, we're going to go deep into the snake, how they work, how to expose them, and how to make sure they never get close to you again. So if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because this is just the beginning. Perform or perish.